All right, so this is a video that I just want to talk about some ideas. I think I might have done this in the past already. I don't know, but if I haven't, well, here's the first time me doing this. If I have, whatever, it's just a re-up, I guess. Talk about it again. I also plan on, in time, like, making individual videos of my ideas and actually, like, making a video with me in it and stuff, not just the T4Cast where it's just words, a picture of words that I talk over. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about was how in the future I hope to become the governor of my state. So I live in Connecticut, so that means, well, obviously I would be governor of Connecticut. I don't expect this to be something that happens anytime soon. Basically, what I'm holding off on is my daughter to be older, for one, before I even really try to get into politics. Because I did try a few years back, and it was just too much that you have to go to meetings and all this, which is fine and all, but they always fell on the days I have my daughter, and I was like, I don't want to sacrifice my time with her to be going to meetings and stuff, so it kind of fell off. But when she's older and has her own life going, and time with me is different, then I'll try to get into politics. And yeah, that's the highest office I want to achieve. Hey, if I tear it up and I'm good at being governor, like DeSantis and stuff, and there's a push for me to run for president, maybe, but that's not really my end goal. Just governor is good enough for me. So the reason I want to do this is, well, there's a couple reasons. One is because I feel like my state has been run by idiots a lot lately, and as such, there's a lot of problems that, relatively speaking, are easy to fix, but because we keep getting idiots elected, because Connecticut is majority a lib state, the whole state's blue except for the northeast corner. Windham County is the only red county in the state. Everything else is blue, so of course we keep getting morons elected. Senator Chris Murphy, what a loser that idiot is. It's embarrassing that he's the senator from my state, or one of the senators from my state. We also have, I think there's a representative, I don't know her name, but geez, she's probably like 75 years old and just an extreme lib freak. Weird hair, colored bowl cut, and just disgusting and embarrassing. Like, our state has the potential to be kind of cool. We border New York and we're close to the oceans and all this cool stuff. And yet it's just an embarrassing, poorly run place that's recently been allowing crime to be kind of rampant. There's so many towns that are just falling apart due to the crime, and the homelessness is skyrocketing, and it's ridiculous. And so I want to come along and fix it. The current loser that we have as governor, what's the idiot's name? Ned Lamont. Oh, he's worthless. Absolutely worthless. It's like he's supposed to be the governor to run the state and not represent us, but have our main interests in mind. And one thing that I know everybody has been complaining about, because you see on almost all his posts on X, is for him to get with Eversource/Pura, I think is like some other organization that has to do with our electric. And does this dickhead ever do it? Nope, just completely ignore it. He is a worthless pile of crap. And in the next year's midterms, I hope he absolutely loses his seat. Now, I hope he doesn't lose to another Democrat, because then it's just same diarrhea, different face. Same diarrhea, different toilet. So hopefully we get somebody worthwhile in a Republican, or even an independent. Doesn't even have to be a Republican. Just get an independent. Somebody that's different than these usual morons. Because even the one before him, Daniel Malloy, I wasn't paying attention to politics too much then like I am now. So I don't know too much. But I don't think Daniel was that impressive either. I don't think of anything like, oh yeah, well he did do this. And I'm like, that was a standout. No. I feel like he was just a younger, semi-cooler version of Ned. It's like we had him, and then we devolved to Ned. And then who was before him? We had Jody Rell. I think Jody Rell was a Republican, but again, I don't remember her doing too much either that was of any value. It seems like our governors are just kind of useless. It's almost like our presidents. I feel like the presidents are usually useless. They just do the same thing over and over, just run the status quo. And it's like we finally have one, Trump, who's actually doing things differently. He's not just running along with the status quo, and because he's doing things differently, everyone hates him. Well, the left hates him, and it's just the irony. It's like, wow, okay. So somebody who's not just a cog in the machine and actually thinking and trying to do something while he has the position, and this is how you freaks want to act. All right. Well, that's just like the governors. They're all the same, doing nothing, just telling us lies so they can get elected, and then they get elected and just, that's it. Oh, cool, I'm the governor now? Sweet, I'm going to do nothing. So that's one reason why I want to become the governor, to make a change, do something for this state instead of the nothing that always gets done. And the second thing is because I always think about life and the purpose of life, and I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, we're here and we're gone. It's like, if you're lucky, you live to be an old enough age, 90, 100, maybe even a little over 100. I don't know if that's considered lucky, because I'm sure being that old sucks. Everybody that you know and love has passed away. Your friends are gone, your parents are gone, your kids are gone, and if they're not gone, they're really old, and maybe they have Alzheimer's or something, so they don't remember you, and you're just looking at them like, geez, I'm older than you, and you're worse condition than me. Then there's your functionality. You're all wrinkly, and not wrinkly, but you're just fragile. Your bones, if you fall, you easily break a bone. Everything hurts. You got to take, you got arthritis everywhere. So I don't know if living that old is great, because I'm sure it's a miserable existence. Plus you're deaf, you're half blind. But still, you know what I'm saying. You get to live long enough. You don't die when you're like 50 or something. And it's just like, I think about it and I'm like, in the grand scheme of things though, it's still nothing. Even if you live to be like 125 years old, you're like the all-time longest living person, it's still just like, it's only 125 years. I think about people back in the day. Like, I think about like graves. Say you go walking around at a cemetery and you see some graves and it's like a kid died when they were 3 years old, but they passed away in 1904. So they were born in 1901, died in 1904. You see that and you're like, oh, that poor kid. But then you think about it and you're like, well, geez, you'd be dead now anyways. So in a way, in a weird way, it's almost like, what difference does it make? You'd still be dead now anyways. Would you actually have achieved anything, or would you still just be an anonymous name on a grave? But instead of being 3 years old, you made it to, 70 or something. But, like, that's just what I think about. Like, someday I won't be here either. And I'm like, what am I going to leave behind? Nothing. I'm going to just be like a little footstep in the world that was just like, yep, I was here and now who cares? I'm gone. And I feel like, at least if I become governor, maybe that gives me a little bit more importance. I'll have something that matters. Although my name will forever go on in the list of previous governors of the state. And yeah, maybe a lot of people won't know what I look like or know who I am, especially down the line as the years go on. But at least there'll be something of significance that I did that solidifies me in humanity. Granted, president is even bigger than that. States, it only matters like on the state level. President matters to the whole country, but still, it's still something. And I think maybe I could use my position to help people in my family, not help them like corruptly, but I just mean like, maybe because I'm governor, it might open up doors for my daughter to get a better job or something, or maybe I can help out my brother or whatever, my niece, my nephew, any of them, help them out just because I had a prominent position, you know what I mean? So it's almost like, it's kind of like when you go to a job interview and you had a parent that used to work there, and the manager is still the same manager, and they're like, oh yeah, I know your dad, and then they hook you up with a job. Same idea, just higher level in politics. Maybe. And I'm not talking about, again, no corruption. I'm not saying like try to corruptly get my kid into politics or whatever. You still got to be elected and all that. But I'm saying maybe it would help her with a job. Oh, your dad was the governor? And that's like a leg up. Hey, that's the former governor or the current governor's daughter. Maybe it gives her a leg up. Or maybe she could have like an easy career. Maybe she could write books about her life as my kid, talk about her childhood, talk about nowadays what it's like. Who knows? They might sell okay. I'm sure stupid stuff Hunter Biden does sells okay. I know his paintings were apparently selling well. So you never know. And then she can live life on mildly easy street just because I became governor or something. So I don't know. That's just what I also think about, though. Just something that makes my existence matter more. Because otherwise, as is, I feel like it doesn't matter. I'm nothing. Okay, yeah, it matters to my family and stuff, but otherwise, what else? I just exist. I live, I go to work, I do the basic things. I go to Walmart and get supplies that I need, and I try to make these videos, but I'm not even popular, so it's not like I matter in this regard. And yeah. So anyways, I guess enough trailing on about backstory and stuff. Let me just talk about what my policies would be. Now, these are just policies I have as of now, and these are policies that I've been thinking about probably for like the past 4 years. So, by the time I try to become governor, I'm thinking it's probably not going to be for like another 20 years or something. Because, by the time I get into politics, I'm looking at another, 5-8 years before I actually start to try to get into politics. And then I'm going to start small. I'm going to start in my town, try to get into like local committees and stuff, and then move my way up to be like the chair of something, like the secretary of finance or something. And then work my way up to be the mayor. Then I can work my way up to try to make it into the House of Representatives. And then from there, I can try to be governor. So, it's a process. It's not just something that's going to happen overnight. Like, okay, I'm ready to run for governor. I'm going to work my way up, build a reputation, build some, back end rapport with the community and stuff. Show what I can do. Instead of just being some anonymous guy, have a track record that I can stand on. So, anyways, yeah, so over the next 20 years, maybe I'll think of a lot more things that I can add to this list. But anyways, when I talk about these, they are in no particular order either. It's just kind of as I think about them. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if I did become governor, all of these would probably be like day one things anyways. It'd be just like a bunch of executive orders. Hey, now that I'm here, I've been thinking about this. So anyways, starting off, the first thing I would do is eliminate the property tax, but with caveats. So the property tax would go away if you no longer have a mortgage. If you pay off your mortgage, or if you were able to buy a house straight out with cash and you never had a mortgage, then you would have no property tax. But if you had a mortgage, then you would pay property tax. The only reason for that is because the way I see it is, at that point, the house isn't yours. It's technically the bank's. The bank gave you the money to buy it, and now you're paying the bank back. So until you pay the bank back, it's not yours. So, whatever. The property tax exists. You might as well just keep renting the property until it's yours, But yeah, I've been thinking about getting rid of that because I think it's just so dumb to have property tax on a house that you paid off. It's supposed to be your house, yet you basically have to rent the land that your house is on forever. Like, how does this make any sense? Even if you pass away and hand the house off to the next to your son or whatever, and he lives there, house is paid off, so he has no mortgage or anything, but yet he still has to pay property tax. How does that make any sense? That's that's such a ripoff. That's so stupid. That's like a huge scam, and we just do it. And I don't understand. Like car tax, I can understand. It makes sense because like the argument for car tax could be, okay, well, your car taxes are used to go towards the maintenance of the roads and to go towards, highways and stuff, so you don't need to have tolls. You just pay the car tax and you get to drive on the streets for free. And it's like, okay, fine. However, now that I brought up car tax, one thing I would change about car tax is if you have multiple cars, then your tax rate would go down per vehicle. Especially if there was something that you could kind of like prove, like, I don't know. I'd have to work out the details greater with the team, but the idea I have on the surface level is like, obviously if you have a vehicle that's more like seasonal, like say a motorcycle, then the taxes on that one would be low because chances are you're not riding it in winter. You're probably not riding it in well, you might ride it in late fall. Some people do, but I wouldn't if I had a bike because it would be too cold for me. Same as early summer. Early spring. Early spring is still too cold. Like, for the most part, a bike is summer, late spring, and early fall type vehicle. It's maybe 6 months out of the year. So why should you have to pay a full amount of vehicle tax on something that you're not driving a full amount of time? Same as if you had multiple vehicles. Like me. I have 2 vehicles. One of my vehicles I literally drive 1 day a week because I use it for a job. It's a work vehicle, basically. Yet, when car taxes and stuff come around, I'm going to have to pay full price for both my vehicles, even though one of them just sits in my driveway. Well, why? I'm not using the roads that much with that vehicle. I'm not adding pollution really to the air with that vehicle. I'm not anything. It mostly just sits there in my driveway. So, yeah, I'd give a vehicle discount. Your primary vehicle would be full insurance, and then as it went down the line, you would pay, not insurance, full taxes, and then as it went down the line, and your vehicles were less and less used or whatever, then you'd get breaks. But anyways, back to the property tax. So that's one situation, is if your house is paid off, then you don't have property tax. Second thing is, for the break, you have to be, this has to be your primary residence. Like if you have, say you have two homes, one's like your main house in Florida, and then you have like a, I don't know, summer home up here or something to get away from the Florida humidity. Well, this is your getaway house, so you pay property tax up here because you don't live here primarily. You live here temporarily. Also, businesses don't get a break. You're a business. Like, you're basically always renting. Even if you're a long-term tenant of whatever building you're in, at the end of the day, you are just long-term renting, because, you know, if you want to expand, you'll just abandon that location. Or if you want to, or if business is bad and things slow down and you need to close some sites, you just close up. It doesn't matter to you. You're just like, well, we can't be here anymore. We're closing shop. So businesses are always going to pay property tax because you're just renting your spot. It's yours for now, but it won't be forever. Where in comparison, a house, you know, a house could be somebody's forever. You know, there's people who have houses that have been handed down through generations. You know, oh, my great grandfather built this house. He you know, when he passed, he gave it to my grandfather. When my grandfather passed, he gave it to my mom. And now my mom's going to give it to me when she passes or whatever, you know, and then I plan on giving it to my kid. That's a hypothetical. I'm not saying real life for myself. I'm just making an example, like how they can be generational. So, you know, you will be there for a while, and your line will be there for a while. But, like, you know, I know of 2 buildings in my town that have been a million different stores. There's one building that used to be a Kmart, then it went to a Sears Essentials, then it went back to Kmart, then it went back to Sears Essentials, and now it's a Runnings. Well, it's changed 52 billion times, so, you know. Just like I know another building that's changed a bunch. Oh yeah, it was a restaurant. It was a KFC. Then it went to be a pizza place. Now it's back to being KFC. And this KFC is just a failure. I mean, they suck. Their service is terrible. Their food, people complain about how it's too greasy and stuff. So if this keeps up, I feel like that KFC is probably going to end up closing again, just because it's going to have terrible sales. And so who knows what else will go there. So, you know, that's what I'm saying, how it's just temporary. Yeah, you're there now, but it's not forever. And then what else would I do with the property tax? Yeah, I guess that's it. Be a resident, have your house paid off, and yeah. Oh, that's another one too. If you're like a landlord, you wouldn't get the break, because at the end of the day, even though people live in your homes, for you as the landlord, this is basically like a business venture. You know, you charge the tenants rent, so you're making money. So even if the house is paid off, it's still a business for you. And kind of like how I was saying that a business is a revolving door, and anything, you know, could be here one day, gone the next. Well, that's just like your tenants. You might have X, Y, and Z tenant here one day, but then, you know, they move out the next day, and then you have A, B, and maybe Z stayed, but now you got A and B tenant instead of, you know, X and Y. So, you know, you wouldn't get a break unless you live there. Unless you had an apartment building and you also lived in it. Like there's a guy that I was using as my personal not mechanic, but like a handyman. And that's what he said. He said that he has a bunch of apartment buildings, I guess. And the first one that he lived in. It was a 4-family unit, and he lived in one of the units. So he had him living there and then 3 rents that he was collecting. So, I mean, if you live there, then yeah, you can get that tax break because it's your home also, even though you got other tenants. So it's kind of like your business as well, but that's your primary residence. So you'd get the break. But if you moved out and bought a house, then you would no longer get a break for that apartment. Now the property taxes would come back because you have a house somewhere else, which then, depending on however that worked out, would determine what your tax situation is. You know, if you bought your house outright, then you'd still have no taxes. But if you needed a mortgage, then you would have property tax. Anyways, so that's idea number 1, sort of. Like I said, these aren't in order. Idea number 2 would be that it's kind of like a little two-parter. So one on this is that I would reduce the sales tax from what it currently is of 6.35% to 5%. I mean, to start, Connecticut's sales tax has been 6% forever until about, 5 years ago. They added the 0.35, which I don't know what that's all about. But, it's kind of uncalled for, kind of unnecessary. I don't really know why our tax had to go up. Budget the money better instead of just blindly wasting. There you go. Simple solution. So I would drop it down to 5. And the reason I would do 5 is because, well, that's what Massachusetts used to be. Now Massachusetts, I think, is even higher than Connecticut, which is crazy. They're like 6.5. But, so yeah, I would bring it down to 5. If it worked for Massachusetts, why wouldn't it work for Connecticut? I mean, yes, Mass is a little bit bigger and the population's a little bit more, so there's that. But still, it'll work fine. Budget the money right. We'll be fine. And this is only a temporary thing. Based on how everything goes, based on what the money is, how much money we are losing potentially or whatever, rebudgeting and making it work, would determine if I could drop it even more. I'd like to drop it more. 5% is just a starting point. If we could get it down to like 3%, that'd be even better. If we could get rid of it altogether, that would be even better. But I don't know if we can fully get rid of it. But, maybe like a 3%, that'd be great. Cut the tax rate in half from what it used to be when it was just 6. And I know on the surface it doesn't sound like much. Like, you think about it, if you paid $100 for something, tax would be $6.35 now. Under the 5% drop down, it would go to $5. So you're like, okay, it's $1.35. Who cares? But you got to think about it. That's one purchase. How many other purchases might you have made during that day? How many other purchases have you made that entire week? Just everything. It just piles up. Like, let's take something small and basic, like a coffee. Your daily morning coffee. Let's say you saved 25 cents per week. 52 weeks in a year. I think that comes out to be $12.50. So sure, that's not a lot in the grand scheme of a year. It's only $12.50, but that is one purchase. That is just your daily morning coffee. Having tax reduced would just drop down everything. Every single purchase you make, any movie that you buy, when you go out to the movies, when you go out to eat, when you buy stuff like entertainment or stuff you actually need, detergent, shampoo, soap, etc. All of that, anything that's taxed is now less. Additionally, it would affect gas as well. Obviously, like gas we see as just an all-inclusive price, but there is tax in there, and I think there's some other nonsense in there too. Well, if the tax is lower, then that can help reduce gas prices. Sure, it won't be a lot, but it's still something. You're paying less gas tax. So there's that. In addition to reducing the regular tax rate, I would also eliminate tax from food and clothing. Now, I always thought that this was a thing to begin with, but I don't know. Sometimes I go out and buy food and it seems like there's tax on it. Other times I go out and buy clothes, there's tax on it. And I'm just like, I thought this was tax-free. Like, I thought necessities were tax-free. So if that's not the case, well, it will be. They will be tax-free within reason. I mean, all clothes will be tax-free, but food, some stuff, no, they'll be taxed. Like stupid stuff you don't need, like bubble gum or a bag of chips, that's not a necessity. That's just something fun to snack on. So sure, we'll still put tax on that, but like pasta, meat, sauce, vegetables, essential things, those will not have tax. And what else did I think of that I was going to do? There's a lot. I'm trying to remember this all while I'm talking. I don't know, but that's one part of what I would do with tax. And then the other part, because I said this was a two-part thing, is I'm drawing a blank now. So this was I was talking about what was I just talking about? Jeez, this is hard to do when you're driving. I'm trying to remember everything. Oh yeah, I said I would drop the sales tax. Oh yeah, okay. So the next thing I would do is eliminate the income tax from your pay. Granted, there's still federal, so it doesn't like fully help you out. And federal is way more than the state tax, but still helps you out some. Let's say your state tax is, $40 a week. Well, over the course of a year, that's going to add up to at least $2,000 just right there back in your pocket. That's just one that just seems to make sense to me. The way I see it is, why the F is the government dipping into my paycheck? They didn't get up, early in the morning and get ready and go to work and do the job and deal with whatever else you got to deal with while you're at the job and possibly take a little road trip here or there and all this. So why do they get to dip into my check? What did they do to deserve any of my pay? I did all of X, Y, and Z to deserve my pay, but what did the government do? Nothing. They're just like, oh, hey, I want some of that too. I'll take some of that. No. So, yeah, we'd be staying out of it. And as far as out-of-state workers, at first I thought, man, you're out of state. I'll keep the income tax on you. But then I thought about deeper, and I was like, you know what? No, we would get rid of it on out-of-state workers as well. We want to try to attract out-of-state workers. That's why. We want to be able to grow our own personal economy. So the more people that want to come work in the state and contribute to our personal economy and, maybe intellectual people that want to come and work for some of our manufacturing companies and other people that are entrepreneurial and want to build a company in Connecticut instead of in Rhode Island or Mass or New York or whatever. I want to welcome that. And so I feel like if we're taxing them, that might be a deterrent. They already have enough tax from the Fed, their state, and now us. But if they don't have to worry about anything coming out of their pay from us, it might be attractive to them. So, yeah, no tax on out-of-state employees either. Now, the next idea that I have, again, not in any particular order, it's just as I think of it, is it would be with gun control. But here's the thing. All these dumb politicians talk about gun control all the time and making better laws and blah, blah, blah. We need more gun control laws, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. If you make gun control laws, all you're doing is targeting law-abiding citizens, okay? You make these stupid laws, and the people that are actually following the laws, things are just getting harder for them. You think a gun control law affects a criminal at all? No. It doesn't do anything to them. They were getting their guns illegally to begin with. They still will. Your stupid laws did absolutely nothing. You'd think that people would be able to learn this by now. Look at back in the day with Prohibition. Did that stop alcohol? No. You had speakeasies. You had the moonshiners. The business booming. Prohibition did nothing other than make it harder. Yeah, sure, the law-abiding citizens weren't drinking, but if you really wanted to find it, you could. It was just a little bit harder. You couldn't just go to the store and buy alcohol. You had to find basically a drug dealer, an alcohol dealer, and get some. So, same thing with the guns. So what you need to do is have the reform target criminals. So that means, let's say, something like this. A, if you are a ex-felon and you're out of prison, it doesn't matter how long you've been an ex-felon for. If you have a felony charge on your name at any point in your life, you aren't to have a gun. And if you get caught with a gun, then it's an automatic 20 years in prison. Automatic. There's no, oh, well, we're going to give you, 5 years, blah, blah. No, it's 20. Obviously, you have to have due process. You need to have the proof out there that, yes, this guy had a gun. It was his, blah, blah, blah. And then, okay, boom, 20 years. That's it. No questions asked. Afterwards, after the trial, then no questions asked. 20 years. Well, you're an ex-felon. You had a gun. You're not supposed to have a gun. 20 years. Another thing is, I don't know if this is on the books or not. I would imagine it in a normal society, it would be and it should be. But given how dumb our society is nowadays, it's probably not. But if you have a misdemeanor or a felony on your account at all, you can't buy a gun. And yes, misdemeanor. I know misdemeanors aren't as serious as felonies, but at the end of the day, it means you still did something wrong, and so you don't deserve a weapon. So, again, I don't really know what the punishment would be. I don't want to say automatic 20 years, but, well, one, yeah, it's supposed to be that you can't buy a gun. So, I mean, if you go to an authorized dealer, then they're not going to sell you one. And then two, then the other one would take effect, because then if you got caught with a gun and you had a misdemeanor or a felon, well, you know you're not supposed to have this, automatic 20. Now, the next thing that'll happen is, I think that, let's say, how do you want to phrase this? More vile, I guess, more savage type punishments need to be reinstated in this state. First off, I don't even know if Connecticut has the death penalty anymore. If it doesn't, that's immediately getting reinstated. That is stupid. You're going to let somebody do something vile to somebody else and then they get to just live? Sure, they're in prison. The rest of their life isn't that great, but they're still alive and existing. Let's say they murdered somebody and their family, or just one person, and the family has to live with knowing what happened, and this idiot gets to live. Oh, we don't have the death penalty. Yeah, you do. This mother effer can die sooner than later, actually. And then, like I said, we can reinstate heinous type crimes. So that means, never mind this wussy stuff. Oh, we're going to give you the lethal injection. It's all done humanely. No, F you. You're going to get, firing squad, or you're going to get hung. It's going to be not a pleasant death. It's not going to be some nice little, I just fade out, I fall asleep almost, and then my heart stops. I brutally murdered this girl for no reason other than that I was bored, and I tortured her, and she had to suffer for hours and hours, but, I just get this nice, sweet little go to sleep, and then my heart stops. No, F you. You can get a firing squad. You can get hung. You can get, both. First you hang, and then after a minute, the firing squad opens up on you. F you. And so, yeah. If you're somebody who has done something heinous with a gun, and you do get caught, you didn't turn it on yourself and you're able to get caught, boom, you definitely are getting one of those. There's no prison time. Once you're convicted, nowadays with everyone having a phone and a camera right there, probably would be pretty easy to have very quick and easy proof of that you're the one that did whatever crime you're accused of. So get that proof out there in a court, and as soon as you're convicted, boom, see ya. You're not going to jail, you're going to die. That'll start cleaning things up. You got to put fear in the criminals and the people that want to do the heinous things. Don't make things more difficult on a law-abiding citizen. Oh, we need stronger gun laws. No, you don't. They're plenty strong enough. You need to put criminals and getting them disciplined as your forefront of thought. Now the next idea I'd have, again, not in any particular order, it's just what I randomly thought of right now, it has to do with sex offenders, especially ones that have to do with minors. MAPS, minor attracted people. I think the system is way too lenient on these people. It's they get arrested for a sex crime, and especially against a kid, and they'll go to jail for 5 years tops. And it's that's it? And then they're back on the streets. Okay, yeah, they have to register as a sex offender and notify people in their neighborhood. Okay, but at the end of the day, they're still back on the streets. They're still able to do it again. And guess what? Majority of the times, they do. I mean, these people never learn. Going to jail doesn't change them. It's not they're oh, man, I don't want to go back there ever again. I'm definitely going to stay away from kids. No, they don't care. They get out, and in some cases, they're going after a kid right away. Because the whole time that they've been in jail, that's all they've been fantasizing and thinking about. So now they're having withdrawals, and they're oh, man, I need to get a kid. Ugh. I mean, there's plenty of examples out there. Look at TCAP. You have John Kennelly. This was before the police were involved on TCAP. He got busted by Chris Hansen one day, naked. He got naked in the Sting House, got busted by Chris, and then the very next day, they busted him again, trying to meet up with what he thought was a kid out of McDonald's. You think that extreme humiliation of knowing that you're on TV and you're naked and Chris Hansen's interviewing you did anything to deter John? Clearly not. Clearly the desire to mess around with a kid is way stronger for these people than average humility is. Or the other one, Michael Siebert. Granted, he had a traumatic brain injury, but that doesn't excuse anything. He's still an adult, and he still tried going after a kid twice. Now, granted, it wasn't back-to-back like John Kennelly. It was, seasons apart. I think it was, one of them was like season 2, and then the second time was like season 4 or something like that they caught him again. But still. And I think the only reason, I think the reason there was a gap is because he went to jail. So while he was in jail, he couldn't offend. And look, he gets out and he's right back at it. Chris Hansen's catching him again, basically as soon as he gets out of jail. And then there's the other ones that people have caught. There's, I think, who is it? It's either, Gordon Flowers, or else it's Tommy from CCP, or it's one of them. But there's a guy that they've talked to multiple times. One of them, they've talked to the guy 3 times. He's been in and out of jail 3 times, and every time he gets out, it's like he goes right back to trying to hook up with a kid. They don't learn. And so I feel like you need something serious, not a little worthless jail time of a few years. There you go. Are you reformed? No, they need either A, to be life in prison, so that way then they can't violate a kid, because there are no kids in jail. I mean, and if they are, they go to juvie. It's a different one. It's not with all these adults. Or 2, they need to be ended. Oh, okay, you're interested in 8-year-olds? Cool. Well, your life is over. Go stand for the firing squad. Because before, I used to think you could just chemically castrate them. If they, are castrated, that sounds good on the surface, but it's like, no, that's not enough, because these people still have hands. They can still violate a kid with their hands. They don't need a wiener to do it. Or they could even be more extreme and hold the kid down and use their mouth. Like, they still will find ways to do what they want to do. So just because they're chemically castrated doesn't mean anything. So they either have to be dead, so then they can't do it ever again, or they got to be in jail forever, so they can't do it again. So yeah, those would be the options. Obviously, with a cabinet, we would discuss it more and come up with final terms. That's just kind of like a rough draft idea. But yeah, something would happen with these sex offenders, because it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to worry about being in society with freaks like this. Let's see, another idea that I would implement. Oh, man. I don't want to distract myself. I'm only saying, oh man, because I just got off the highway and there's a accident right here. It doesn't look too busy though, but there's a cop and okay, that was easy. I'm by it. All right, made me nervous at first. I'm like, oh come on, I don't have time for this, but never mind. Nice and easy. Anyways, so then the next thing that I would implement is, a war on crime. I don't know what's up with Hartford. Hartford is terrible. I don't know what the F is happening in Hartford. It's almost like Chicago light. It's ridiculous. And then you got other towns close by to that. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I know there's towns that are just as terrible as anything nearby. And it's like, why? What are we doing? Why are we not getting more police? That's something I would focus on. Let's increase our budget to get more police. Enhance our police force, especially in those areas that need it, like Hartford. Get a larger police force going. Train more officers, have more officers on the streets, tighten up the criminal laws. Don't let people go all willy-nilly. Oh, okay, we arrested you, now you can go free. No, you got arrested? Okay, well, have fun hanging out in the cell for a while. Then you can go to the court and get an official sentence where maybe your stay in jail is now a lot longer than just a couple of days. Not maybe, it better be longer than just a couple of days. But yeah, straighten the streets up. I don't know what's up with this weird lib logic of just, whatever. Yeah, it's no big deal. Crime? Yeah, it's fine. What has crime ever done to anybody that was bad? Huh? Yeah, nothing. That's basically how they treat it. And it's like, oh, okay, so now criminals are good guys. That makes sense. No. Beef up the police squad, get them out there, clean up these streets, make it so that places are safe, make it so these towns are a lot safer, and these cities. Hartford is the capital of the state. You'd think that place would be super on point. Don't you want your main headquarters to look good? Nope, apparently not. Hey, come to Hartford where you run a high risk of getting shot. Sounds great, huh? No, that's ridiculous. It should be super safe there. That's the home of, essentially the home of the governor. I'm not saying that's where the governor lives, but I'm just saying since that's the heart of the state, the governor is the leader of the state. That's where, the headquarters would be and stuff. It's kind of like how D.C. was so unsafe. Like, that's the home of the president. And in the state, in the district, is that unsafe? It's not anymore because Trump straightened that out with the National Guard, which is a good move. But still, like, that's just ridiculous, too. So, yeah, definitely beef up the police. Get more. And do it all across the whole state, not just the problem areas, but obviously focus heavily on the problem areas first, and then bleed out to the places that don't need it as much. Maybe like my area might be fine. Maybe hire 1 or 2 more cops. But like in those areas that desperately need it, beef up the squads. So definitely if and or when I become governor, crime's going to have to get cracked down on. Police forces will have to be increased. Whatever needs to be done to clean up the streets and make places safer. People shouldn't have to worry about any type of their safety, especially if you're going to visit like a big city, because, I don't know, libs love to slack. So, yeah. Now, speaking of that, in that same vein, before I say what I'm going to say, I want to say, getting very meta over here or whatever, so many says, say what you say what you say, how you say it whenever you say it. Just remember how you said it when you were spraying it. So you playing with, huh? Anyways, at the time of this portion of the recording, it has been 5 days. Last one I recorded was Wednesday. I don't really go for long drives until Monday, so it is Monday. So I don't really remember what I said. So if I'm repeating myself, oops, my bad. But another thing I would want to reinstate or instate in the first place, I don't know, would be the death penalty. I'm pretty sure that Connecticut doesn't have the death penalty. And I just think that's ridiculous. If somebody does something real heinous, like, why should they be able... Sure, they're in jail, so their life isn't great, but why should they be able to sit in jail and still enjoy small things? Enjoy going out in the yard for an hour or a day or whatever they get and have the sun, feel the breeze, smell the spring air when it's spring, be able to eat food, be able to, I don't know, maybe watch TV still or whatever they get. Like, why should you be able to get any of that? Or just still live in general. Why should you be able to still live and do push-ups and work out and get yourself in better shape and all this when you did, maybe you murdered somebody? Well, that person can't ever enjoy any of these things anymore. Or maybe you did some other heinous crime, like, I don't know, violated a kid or something. Like, why should you be able to just continue going on? Once you're convicted and it's clearly evident that, yes, it's 100% you, this isn't an accidental conviction, then just bye. And none of this long-term drawn-out crap either. When somebody's on death row for like 25 years, what's the point of that, too? You just gave them 25... Oh, they will eventually be terminated, but we're going to give them 25 years until then. Why? He's on death row, just end it. Don't keep supporting this guy to live. Don't keep paying for his meals and his shelter and all this. They try to claim, oh, well, they don't like to do, lethal injections or whatever because it's actually pretty expensive. Is it, though? Is it really that expensive? How about you just, I don't know, OD the guy on anesthetic, anesthesia. Normally we're given just enough to put us out, but we come back. OD the guy, give him way too much. Can't be that expensive. I know another thing that's pretty cheap. We used to do it back in the day. It's called the gallows. Hang the guy. How much does rope cost? I'm sure that's not that much. Or, maybe get a guillotine. I'm sure that's not that much either. All it really needs is to be sharpened here and there, and then you're good to go. How about a firing squad? Bullets are not cheap, but relatively speaking, they're not that expensive either. Maybe depending on how heinous the guy's crime was, maybe give him a real heinous punishment. Gas and matches aren't that expensive, relatively speaking. Tie the guy up somewhere to like a metal pole and, dump some gas on him, throw a match. Have fun burning, mother effer. That's where you'll be for the rest of your life anyway, the rest of eternity anyways, burning in hell, so might as well get a head start on it while you're still here. And if you bring back these heinous punishments, maybe it'll deter crime. Because if people know, I don't want to be burned alive, or I don't want to be hung, or I don't want this, maybe they'll act right. They'll think before they do something, rather than, I don't care about prison. Yeah, I'm tough. I can withstand prison. Fuck all the motherfuckers in there. Yeah. Well, are you going to be able to withstand burning alive? Are you going to be able to withstand hanging? Are you going to be able to withstand the guillotine? Yeah, probably not, tough guy. So yeah, that's another thing I try to bring back. I mean, I'm sure my more brutal methods of terminating someone might be a little hard to push, but there's no reason we can't bring back the death penalty. Just in general. Whatever a normal death penalty is to start, at least. And I might have already said this one too. I hate it if I'm repeating myself, but while we're talking about people and doing heinous crimes, people that violate children, like, I was trying to think of what you do with them, and I don't really know, because it's like, they come out, yeah, I did already talk about this, actually, because I remember I made the John Kennedy jokes. Never mind, we don't need to talk about this one again. But yeah, that would fall under crimes too, you know? Anyways, another thing now, moving on, that I would do if I was governor of Connecticut is, I'm trying to remember, because these ones, I don't want to say they're more obscure, but they're not the ones that are burning at the forefront of my mind like the other ones were, you know, the round one topics. So I just need to remember. I did come up with a list that I tried to run through in my head, but I just gotta bring it to the forefront. Well, one thing actually I would try to do, this is something relatively small, it's not anything like huge that a lot of people are gonna care about, but you know, there's a couple of casinos in Connecticut. There's Mohegan Sun and there's Foxwoods. And from what I understand, the casinos are tax-free. And I just think that's ridiculous. Why does everybody else have to pay tax, but the casinos that pull in billions and billions and billions of dollars are tax-free? I mean, I thought the whole point of casinos, like in Las Vegas and stuff, is because, why that's allowed is because, you know, it's legal gambling because the government gets to get a dip. Well, we don't dip into Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun at all? So whoever's running Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun gets to make billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and that's just, yeah, that's fine. If anyone else tried to do that, it would be extortion or whatever, money laundering. I don't know what the words are, but you know what I'm saying. It would be a problem. But, because a casino, that's fine. Oh, yeah, that's fine. No! And plus, that would help with my other plans to eliminate, like, the income tax and all that I said, reducing the state sales tax. Jeez, if we're getting tons of money from the casinos, we'd be set. Everyone would benefit, not just a few, you know, 2% blood Native Americans or whatever it is running the casinos now. It would be everyone. You want your casino in the state? Sure, help the state out. You're still making a ridiculous amount of money. You're not hurting because you're getting taxed now. Seriously. I mean, what's the number one golden rule of casino? The house never loses. House always wins. Whichever way you want to phrase it, it means the same thing. So you'll do just fine. I'm sure instead, if your casinos were taxed, you'd just lower the odds of somebody winning, you know? So the slots now, instead of paying out one every, 500 spins, now it's one every 750 or something. That way then you're not taking a loss. You'll quickly find a way to make your money back, and at the same time, everyone else will be able to live better too. 2 casinos that we could tap into? That's crazy money. So yeah, I'd definitely be looking into those casinos and what needs to be done to change their exemption status, because that's ridiculous. I mean, let's put it this way. If you're too cheap to pay taxes, you're not going to want to build somewhere else anyways, and you're definitely not going to want to close, because that's a lot of money you know you'll be missing. So you're basically just going to bite the bullet at that point, because your options suck. Anyways, yeah, on to more serious things. Oh yeah, that's one I thought of. Is I would get rid of the need for emissions testing. First off, out of the 2 main tests that are out there for vehicles, emissions tests or inspections, we already don't have inspections anyways, and that's probably the more critical one out of the 2, because inspections make sure that your car is safe. We let people drive unsafe cars, that's fine, but we're going to worry about the emissions it's putting off, which, let's be real, I don't want to hurt the planet or try to be a climate change denier or anything like that, but let's be real, they've been crying about global warming and such since, the 70s, the 60s, and everything's always cataclysmic. Oh, the next 10 years this is going to happen, next 10 years this is going to happen. Every 10 years, it's, in the next 10 years this is going to happen, and yet every single stupid prediction they've made has never happened. Every time that 10 years comes to fruition, whatever they cried about didn't happen. And it just perpetually keeps being like that. These things never happen. The planet's not getting I mean, okay, I guess it's getting a little warmer, but I chalked it up to a lot of other factors like population growth and stuff. You know, people run at 98.6 degrees. The more people there are, the more 98.6s there are walking around on this planet, giving off body heat. Maybe that's contributing. Maybe it's just us existing contributing to a little bit of global warming. I mean, the temperature only rises, what, like 0.1 degrees Celsius every year or something, every 10 years? What is the metric? I don't know. It's something real small and worthless, though. It's not like it's a full Celsius or something. It's 0.1. And it's like, yeah, maybe it's just because there's more people. There's 8 billion of us just walking around at 98.6 degrees like, hey, I'm warm. Maybe that's influencing things. So, you know, and it's just none of this ever happens. So my point is at the end of the day is, who cares about emissions tests? You know, what difference is it going to make? None. And even with emissions tests and stuff, you still see older trucks or cars driving around and they're all giving off tons of black smoke, and it's like, ugh, there's no way that would pass emissions, but hey, it's driving, so whatever. And here's the other thing too. I feel like emissions tests might have mattered a lot more back in the day when, you know, cars were a little bit, I don't know, not shoddy, but, you know, had more potential issues with them. Cars nowadays are, like, on point with this stuff, okay? A lot of cars are green, or at least half green, like hybrids. Like, you know, there's way less emissions being put out anyways. Like Teslas, obviously that's zero emission. And what else is zero emission? There's just a lot. Even hybrids, like I said, they're putting out a lot less emissions. There might be some because they're a hybrid, but it's a lot less than a regular car. And even the regular cars, they're putting out a lot less too nowadays just because they're more on point. You know? Like, let's put it this way. By the time I become governor, who knows what that'll be. Like I said, maybe 10, 15, 20 years from, let's say 20 years from now. So that means an old car would be a 2025 model car. Like, I don't think we have much to worry about today's cars with emissions to begin with, so I don't think in 20 years we really are going to have to worry. It's not like when I got my first car. My first car was a 97, okay? That was a 9-year-old car at that time, and that was still pretty much on point, being 97. But like an old car, 20-year-old car would have been what, like an 86? Like, yeah, that probably did have emissions problems in 86, but now, we don't have to worry, so I just get rid of that. That's stupid. There's no need to have people worrying about, I mean, it's only $20, but still, you have to waste $20, find a center that'll do it, go get it done. Forget it. Also, I think the rule is if your vehicle's like 25 years or older, so basically an antique, you don't have to worry about emissions tests anyways, which makes no sense to me. Like, it's an older vehicle. If anything, the older vehicle should be checked. Like, I just bought a 98 Dodge Ram, and I'm sure it's not giving off proper fumage, which is fine that I didn't have to get tested because I didn't really want to have to fix anything. But it's like, this doesn't get tested, but my car would have to. My 2015 car would have to, but not my 98 truck. Okay. That doesn't make any sense at all. So if it's okay for the truck, might as well make it okay for the car. Get rid of it. No more emissions, no inspections, boom, bam, done. Whatever. Now, that's another big one that I was thinking that I would want to change. I would want to change benefits for single mothers and make it worse. So why I say this is because I know quite a few single women that are just absolute scumbags, and they basically milk the system and use child support and then governmental assistance for like their job. I mean, there's this one woman that used to live next door to me. She moved out a while ago now. That doesn't matter. But the point is I think she had 5 kids from 3 different guys. And then basically what she did was, her job, so to speak, was that she got child support from the fathers, and she was able to be on the system for everything. She got money for, I don't know how she milked it, but she got some kind of pay for having the kids. I don't know if it was like Care for Kids that she was scamming or something, but she got paid for having kids. She got the child support money, and yeah, she had the state insurance. She was basically living for free just because she had kids. Like, that's just ridiculous. If you want to have a lot of kids and such, that's great, do it. But be able to have a proper plan to take care of them. Don't expect to live off of child support, which is a dick move. And the state. I mean, every time tax time came around, she'd get like a massive chunk of money. And it's like, that's ridiculous. You're getting all this money and you literally contribute nothing to society. And me, I'm lucky if I get like $1,000 during tax time. And yet here I am working 2 jobs. You know, especially during those days, I was working 70 hours a week between 2 jobs. If you add my drive time, it was well over 80. I think it was at like 85 hours a week total, just dedicated for work purposes, between working and my drive time. And this broad's doing nothing. Every day is just nice and easy. Get up whenever she wants. Let me throw on the DVD for the kids. I'm just going to make some breakfast. I'm going to go run to McDonald's and get a Diet Coke. I know this because I worked there and she came through drive-thru all the time to get her stupid large Diet Coke. So, good, the kids are in school. Now I have all day, 6 to 7 hours to do whatever the F I want. I can't wait till tax time when I can get like $15,000 because I have 5 kids and I'm not with any of the dads. No, F you. I know another broad that did that too. We worked together at McDonald's. The only reason she worked is because apparently for her, in order to get all these benefits, she needed to have a job. So that's what she did. She worked at McDonald's and then she'd get tons of benefits. You know, all the WIC, all the health care, whatever child support she could get from some of the guys, yada, 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 the list goes on. Like, she was living well off of all this scamming. And she was disgusting about it because she really was using her kids to be able to, like, supplement her income. Because one of her kids was going to be turning 18 soon. And when this time came, she was like, I'm going to have to get knocked up soon because one of my kids is going to be aging out and I don't want to have my benefits reduced. And so somehow she actually did end up finding a guy to knock her up. Like, I think that was like the whole arrangement too. Just strictly, hey, knock me up and that's it. She wasn't with the guy. I don't think she even really talked to the guy anymore. She just got pregnant by him. So that way then she could maintain having 5 dependents so she could keep her welfare benefits at max. Like, that's just disgusting. You want to have 6 kids? Great, have 6 kids. That's cool. But support them yourself. Don't make this your job and try to supplement your life because you have tons of kids that you're not with any of their fathers or anything like that. So basically, anyways, and before I get into it, but I would change. Yeah, that's why I know the return was $15,000 when I'm making fun of my neighbor. Because of her. I knew it was from her. She got $3,000 a kid times 5 kids, $15,000. That's ridiculous. At least her, she did work. She was at McDonald's, but still, like, barely contributing. Well, you work at McDonald's. Oh, wow. So much effort. You're really contributing to society because you work at McDonald's. Oh. Yeah, you deserve $15,000. Not the guy who, has 3 degrees and works 70 hours a week, plus has to drive a lot to get to his jobs and all that, all while actually supporting his child with no governmental assistance and such. No, I don't get anything. But that scumbag can get $15,000. That makes sense. And I bet you some of that is my tax money. So while I'm working hard doing everything right, this broad gets to get a little portion of her money from me. That's cool. Absolutely not. So here's what would happen. First off, the limit of kids would be 2. F you and your 5, it's 2. You have 5 kids, cool. Figure out how to take care of your other 3. You're only getting benefits for 2. Obviously, if there's child support, that's different. You can't control that. But as far as like how the food stamps would be determined and all that other crap, your end of the year taxes stuff, it's going to be based on 2 kids, not 5. Second off, the benefits are going to be cut in half on top of that. So not only are you going to be dropped down from your max of 5 to just 2, but whatever you were getting before, cut it in half. So that $3,000 per kid, for example, during tax time is now only $1,500. Times 2, you're capping out at $3,000 now, not $15,000. What I would like to do now on the opposite end of things is increase benefits for married couples and families. Currently, I know that you get stiffed. It's like you get married and then just everything goes to crap for you. You get taxed out of oblivion. And it's ridiculous. It's like you almost get punished because you're married. So personally, I'm not married, so I don't really know. I just know from my experience with what my mom used to talk about, how she hated the taxes and stuff, how she always had to pay in and just felt like she was ripped off. So I don't really know, but I'd have to look into that and then figure it out from there. Figure out what we can do to give benefits to married couples for doing the right thing and getting married, and having kids and supporting them, and figure it out from there. Incentivize proper nuclear families instead of scumbag whoreness. You want to live like a skank? You want to make skank decisions? Then you can live like a skank. F you. You're not going to be a drag on our society. It's bad. It's bad. Wait, how do I want to phrase it? You should feel lucky enough that I would leave you with being able to claim something for 2 of the kids, okay? It should be nothing. So, be happy to at least get that. And then that's another thing, too. The benefits for the kids, what I would want to do is I would want to change things so that, like right now it seems to be a flat rate. Oh, you got a kid under 18? Okay, this is your flat rate. F that. As kids age, they need less. Okay? And as they age even more, they start to be able to get a job themselves, like when they're 16 and stuff, which means now they can afford some of their own things that they like and or want. So I would also have it figured out so that as a child ages, your benefits also reduce. So like that $1,500 per kid, that would be while your kids are young. I'm talking like 0 to, let's say, 5. Then your benefits would be $1,500 a kid. But then from there, as their kid gets older, 5 to 6, 5 to 10, let's say, it would drop down a little. 10 to 13 drops down even more. And then 13 to 16 drops down even more. And then 16 to 18 is almost nothing, because what do you need to get benefits for a 17-year-old for? Get real. The kid's next year is considered a man or a woman, an adult. You're going to try to get full benefit. Oh, I'm getting my $1,500 for my 17-year-old. F you. You'll get like $400. I haven't figured out the details. Obviously, that's something I'd have to work out with a team. I'd have to have a team, like an accounting team and all this. But once I get it figured out, then we would take it from there and implement it. And that would obviously help with governmental waste and all that too, because right now there's a lot of waste due to these skanks just milking the system. So that's another thing too. Speaking of milking the system, we wouldn't just be like blindly taking care of losers who have any excuse. Oh, I can't work because I have anxiety. Okay, cool. You can still work. F you and your dumb excuse over anxiety. So we'd have to see like how weak some of these dumb excuses are that people have, and then create an evaluation from there. Oh, so you think you can't work because you have anxiety. Okay, well, you're going to get 0 benefits, so get a job. Otherwise, you can just be homeless. I don't know what to tell you. We're not going to support you because, I get a little nervous. Everyone gets a little nervous. Get over it. Oh, I can't work because, I get restless leg syndrome. Okay, and? Get one of those copper leg brace things, then slap it on. There you go. Problem solved. Or go see a doctor and get some medicine for it or whatever. I don't know. Probably no medicine, but figure it out. Doesn't mean you can't work. Sure, maybe you can't do something that's like manual labor, but you can sit at a desk or something. You can be a secretary. Who cares if your leg's twitching up a storm? You can talk to somebody on the phone. Your leg twitching isn't affecting your voice and talking to somebody on the phone to make a sale or be a, whatever your job would be, to answer calls for your company and schedule appointments or whatever. Like, don't make dumb, worthless excuses just to try to milk the system and live off the government. So, I think that's a big thing that I would try to implement as well. Now, another thing that I would change, which this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but quite honestly, I don't care. Because right now the opinion is very rude and biased and one-sided, and I don't understand why that's okay, but someone having my opinion is like, oh, you're such a jerk. F you. You don't like it? I don't know what to tell you. But I would be recriminalizing marijuana. I'm sick and tired of all these stupid marijuana shops and stuff in popping up everywhere in the state. What are they? Cannabis shops and all this. It's disgusting that this is what our society is. We need to be walking around stoned all the time. It's bad enough there's just as many package stores in every corner as there is Dunkin's. Now we need to have cannabis shops everywhere. And the problem with cannabis is I feel like it's a lot less regulated than alcohol. So people are just high all the time, and this is supposed to be fine. Oh, I'm going to go out for a drive now. I'm totally baked. That's fine. You wouldn't be able to go out drinking and driving, but you can go out and being high and driving, I guess, right? That's so stupid. And it's just a drag on society. It's disgusting. And I'm sick and tired of smelling weed all the time, too. That's the thing that really makes me annoyed, because weed is rude. At least alcohol, I'm not a fan of alcohol. I don't drink. I'm against alcohol, too. But at least alcohol can be a self-contained hobby, if you want to call it a hobby. You know? If you, like, don't get rowdy and all that, you can be drinking in your house and no one knows. You know? Where if you're smoking weed, that stuff's going to seep out and now the neighbors are going to smell it. And now they got to deal with that. That happens with me all the time. I, unfortunately, live in a very heavily congested location. And there's a lot of neighbors, and a lot of these dickheads around me like to smoke weed. And guess what I have to smell all the time? Especially in summer when my windows are open. Because that just comes right on in. And it's just so rude. And I'm like, why is this okay that these dickheads can all do this and I have to just deal with it? I don't smoke weed, but I got to deal with it because, oh, it's legal now. Absolutely not. I would recriminalize. I'm not going to make it like violently criminal. You know, I'm not going to make it so then you're spending years in jail, but definitely like misdemeanors and stuff. It's going to count as a misdemeanor. You're going to get a heavy fine. And based on how much weed you're caught with, you can spend like a month in jail. You know? And also it'll be something where people can call. If you're smoking weed and somebody smells it, they can call and the cops will do something about it. Like now, there's nothing I can do. I smell that garbage and I just have to deal with it. And it makes me so annoyed because it makes me feel sick too. And I'm like, this is annoying right now. Now I don't feel well and I did nothing to bring this on myself. It's these dickheads that live near me that are like, oh yeah, let me just go smoke a joint. Fuck the neighborhood. I don't care if they don't like it. Because they're rude. I got to deal with this. Now I got to feel sick for the next 20 minutes because these mother effers. How is that fair to me? How is that right to me? And how is that right to any of my neighbors that don't do it? I'm sure there's other neighbors that feel the same way I do. Like, oh, here we go again. One of these dickheads around here is smoking weed. And now I got to smell this. I know there's an older, I don't want to call him older, but, you know, he's maybe in his 60s man that lives across the street. He's a quiet guy. He takes care of his yard and stuff. You know, he has pride in his property. And, you know, I'd imagine he's in the same boat as me. He don't want to smell that. He doesn't smoke cigarettes or pot. So I know he doesn't want to smell that. Just like me. But yeah, we have to be subjected to it because that's the thing. And I'm the dickhead because I say I want to ban it. No, F you. You want to get high? Find different ways then. They make gummies now. Eat a few gummies. Now there's no smoke. There's no rudeness to anyone else and you can still get high. Find other ways. They put it in chocolate. They put it in brownies. Find different ways. But yeah, we're not going to have dispensaries all over the place looking like a gross, decrepit, disgusting state that everyone just has to be high all the time. Oh, look, there's one. Let me go buy some weed. Hey, look, there's one around the corner, too. Maybe I'll make a stop there and see if they got different grades. F you. So yeah, I know that's unfortunately a hot topic, but I don't really care. That would be something that I would be working towards changing because it's disgusting that our society thinks we need to be walking around under the influence. That doesn't even make sense. That's ridiculous. Anyways, if/when I become governor, another thing that I would want to change is I don't know if I said this last time. Ah, crap, I don't remember at all. See, what it would be with minimum wage. So I think that minimum wage going up all the time is terrible. Absolutely terrible. It's ridiculous. It's like, all it does is cause inflation. Like, as the minimum wage goes up, I think I did talk about this, because now I feel like I already said this, but I want to talk about it again, because it's still something that annoys me. You know, as the minimum wage goes up, everything else is going to go up too. Companies aren't looking to take a loss. You know, private business owners aren't looking to take a loss like the company I work for. It's a mom and pop shop. Granted, it's not a typical mom and pop shop. It's an engineering firm and all this, but still, the owners, they're not going to want to take a loss. They have a bottom line, and the bottom line that they're looking at is for themselves. So when minimum wage goes up, that means that our prices need to go up, so that way then they can maintain their bottom line. They're not looking to take a hit because their employees are making more now. And so, yeah, that's something stupid that I hate with our politics because they don't think about this. Oh, like our dumb loser governor kind of bragging about it. Oh, yeah, everyone should have a fair living wage. So minimum wage is going to go up. Cool, dickhead. And you know what else is going to go up? Everything. So congratulations on being a moron. and keeping everyone exactly where they are. Like honestly, I think if minimum wage was at like $8 an hour still, that would work better. And you know why? Because everything would stay cheap, and then maybe employers would be more prone to giving raises. Nobody gives out a raise now because their minimum wage is already sky high. They're not looking to increase that. Where if minimum wage is $8 an hour, you give a good employee 50 cents. Now he's making $8.50. He feels good, like, oh wow, I got a big raise. He's making more money. He's making more than minimum. And yeah, and then you keep that going. Each year he gets 50 cents, say. Before you know it, he's at $12 an hour. He feels good. He's making 50% more than minimum wage. And it's not causing inflation because this guy is making more because the company that he's working for sees that he's worth it. Yeah, we keep giving you a raise because you're a good employee. Here you go. Here's some more money. Thanks for what you do. But when you jack it way up like this, nobody's going to give a raise. You could be the best employee in the world. It doesn't matter. You're not getting a raise because companies see it as, geez, you're already costing me too much. So anyways, what I would do is try to propose 2 minimum wages. There'd be one that's the adult minimum wage, which is basically what we have currently, $16.35, soon to be $16.79 or some nonsense. And then there would be like the high school, you know, the minimum wage. I'm pretty sure I already said this, because now that I'm thinking about it, I said the age that you're a dependent. Like if you're in college, you're a dependent until you're 26 or whatever. So there'd be that minimum wage too, which is like half. So if the minimum wage is $16.80, let's say for easy numbers, then the dependent minimum wage would be $8.40. And that just makes sense to me. Then it helps balance things out. You know, now it's not everybody's making a crazy amount of money, and maybe people could get raises, because now that you're paying these kids less, the adults that are making the higher wage rate, maybe could see some increases because, you know, not everybody's making way too much money. If you look at opportunity cost, those student workers that are now making half as much, or dependent workers, I should say, that are making half as much, you know, that's that much more in your pocket, which means you could give it to these other employees as a raise. And then everything starts to work better. Everybody, you know, at first the kids will be cranky, especially if they're already making that higher amount and now their wage gets cut in half. They'll be crabby about it, but people will get over it. Give it a few years, it'll become the norm, and everybody's fine and happy, and prices maybe even get to come down. McDonald's might have a dollar menu again, and everything's great. All because of a simple change. Anyways, yeah, so I think that's all I have for now, really, I can think of off the top of my head, because now I'm at a point where I'm just repeating myself. But, yeah, I think that there's a lot of changes that need to be done to the state and can be done. Maybe they don't need to be done, but they definitely could be done. It would cause great improvements. And, yeah, so hopefully someday I can become the governor of the state, and it'll just be awesome, and I'll do a lot to improve things. And, you know, like I said in the beginning, I still got 20 years to think about this, so there's plenty of more ideas I can come up with as time goes on, as I get older, as I get into politics. Like I said, I do want to start small and work my way up. So while I'm on the small scale, you know, there's plenty that I can think about and, you know, get some real experience. Like right now, this is just kind of, my ideas are just like concept, you know what I mean? It's like R&D, like, yeah, I think this, but maybe when I'm really in it, then I'll be like, whoa, there's this I could do too. This is ridiculous and makes no sense, you know? And then, or I could think of ways to perfect the ideas I already have. Once I'm in government, I'll see how it actually works, and I'm like, oh, so this is what I'd have to do. So anyways, yeah, that's all I got for now. So thanks for checking this out. Hopefully someday in the future you vote for me. And until then, or until whatever comes next, I said see ya.